Hello everyone, welcome to my channel PHDChats. You clicked on the link when you didn't have to, and for that I am grateful. To all of my subscribers, thank you so much for your support. I am up to 20,000 views, and I want to encourage you, if you haven't yet subscribed and this channel and my videos give you any value and it's worth your watch, please subscribe and turn the notifications on so you do not miss any more videos from Chats with Petal. So today on this channel, we are going to talk about the affair scene around the world, and it's all over the news. You've seen their pictures, you've seen the images, and so it's a conversation that everyone is having. And here on Chats with Petal, we discuss marriage and relationships. So when I saw the hoopla about this man and this woman, my initial reaction was, so what? So what? I had a very, very emotionally deficient response, because right now, as I am speaking, someone is having an affair. Someone is cheating. It's not a new experience for us as a society, and we could dive into how men are socialized, how women are socialized, how marriage is seen, how many parts of our media, right, in art, in our print media, in magazines, in movies, how infidelity and having affairs are often romanticized, and we don't stand up for that, and we consume that content because it is sensational, and how many songs that we sing, and it's a very common part of many cultures. So I saw the scandal unfold, and to be honest, I felt a little bit frustrated, and here's why. Now, first of all, I will say that marriage is sacred. I will say that long-term commitments are sacred. Romantic partnerships that are committed are very, very sacred, and there should be a level of reverence around them. And outside of the promise of exclusivity or monogamy that you're making to each other, you are also investing. You're investing time, you're investing resources, you're investing effort, you're making an emotional investment into getting to know this person, bonding with this person, and becoming one. And that investment produces returns and rewards over time. So along that journey, there are going to be bumps. There are going to be setbacks. There are probably even going to be moments when both partners are wondering if they're right for each other. That is a normal unfolding. It's a normal part of the journey of marriage, right? It's not unexpected. It's not unknown. And so while I am not minimizing the gravity of being dishonest with your spouse about how you feel, or being dishonest with your spouse about where your affections lie, I do feel that we have to be careful about elevating someone's frailty as grounds for the dissolution of a marriage. We're very quick to do that, right? So we saw the image clearly. It made for really exceptional content. That I will agree with. It is the most toxic, sensational trifecta of online. It's a music concert. It's a kiss cam. They were caught off guard. Their reactions were exaggerated, and a film director couldn't put together a scene that was so emotionally engaging and entertaining and a little bit anxiety provoking. We went through the entire gamut of emotions with them, right? Fear, despair, I think the woman had a moment where she was nervously smiling, and she may have been asking her colleague or her friend to the left, is the camera still on me? Then, ducking away. So it was really an emotionally charged moment. It was a few seconds, but there was so much for us to absorb in that. And if it's one thing that we love as viewers, is any content, any video that triggers our emotion. So we feel emotionally invested, and there's a lot of things for us to feel as we watch that video, right? I think as a society, we have to be careful about having an uneven or inconsistent reaction to things, right? We see something on TV or online, particularly the types of content that allow us to comment and leave feedback, right? Instagram, Facebook posts, YouTube. We have such a visceral reaction. We, take our fingers to that keyboard or our keypad on our phones, and we just go to town against someone we do not know, against someone we have not met, in a space where that comment might not be seen or might not accomplish what it could have if we were saying that to someone in whose lives our opinion matters. And there is where the hypocrisy lies, because so many of us, by extension, within 2 degrees of familiarity, we know someone who has been unfaithful to their romantic partner. We've either seen it firsthand, we have either experienced it, or, we know someone who has participated in that kind of behavior. And where is our visceral, vocal response to that? Those are the people in whose lives our opinions actually matter. Those are the people in whose lives we have a license to share. We have a license to coach. We have a license to hold accountable to some extent. And we say nothing. We have nothing to say. We're hands off. But then when something happens publicly, and it's entertainment, then there's a public outcry. I mean, hundreds of thousands of people were expressing their opinion across all social platforms. And it makes me roll my eyes, because it seems very emotional and very knee-jerk. And it's for the same reason that I could not consume content about the Sean Combs trial. Because if there is one thing that you are not going to do, is strong arm me into an emotional reaction that is disproportionate to how I would react if that exact thing happened to me personally. We have a lot of heat for things when they are distant and when they are online, and we develop this bravado and we find the words and we go online and we troll. And we say all of these things, and we're calling for his resignation and an investigation. Really? 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 Have you ever had the gumption to approach someone that is in your life that you know to have violated the commitment that they made to their partner and expect them to resign from their job? Did you use that decision that person is making as an indicator of the totality of their character or their integrity? And we have not. We have a very selective outrage for what is happening to people. And those are real people. Those are real people. Those are real lives. And once this battle is being fought publicly, there is a level of injustice and unfairness to all who are involved. Because had they had the opportunity, the spouses of the two people videotaped, right, recorded, had their partners had the opportunity to uncover this information privately and process this information privately, and then make a holistic decision about how about how they measure the gravity of this act and this deception compared to the entire experience of being with this person. If they were making that decision privately, my guess is that it would be made very differently. So it's important for us not to say very salacious things and be so heavy-handed. How are we so heavy-handed for this man and this woman? Where is that outcry and that heavy-handedness for people in our lives who are guilty of the same? That's the hypocrisy. I have a low tolerance for the hypocrisy and for the selective outrage and for the almost gang mentality, right, that we create when we jump online and we begin to bully people into compliance, and we're setting a standard that we don't adhere to in our actual lives. You know, we use the lives of people that are unfolding before us. We use the personal experiences of people that we have become privy to because of social media, because of digital devices, recording and disseminating information so quickly and so instantly. We use that access to bully and troll. And I'm reading the comments and I'm shocked. I mean, the consequences that people want this man and this woman to endure. I mean, my goodness, where is the strong outrage and outcry when we see acts of infidelity and sensationalized in TV and film, and we go out there and we romanticize that, and it's wonderful and it's beautiful, and we consume that so consistently, and we celebrate the people. I mean, I am shocked. I'm shocked. My takeaway is this. Clearly, those two people were engaging in some level of affection toward each other that was unaligned with their relationship status, right? And as a result, when they were filmed, they had to hide. And the way that the media frames those things, I mean, there's about at least 100 videos. I'm sure there's probably thousands, but to be conservative, within a couple of hours, there were at least 100 larger content creators making videos about this situation with hundreds of thousands of views. And their spouses are going to feel very exposed. It's like standing in front of a crowd with your clothes off. There is something very private and very personal that everyone knows about. And that has to corrupt your decision-making process. That has to skew it significantly. And there are children involved. There's family involved. There are years of memories and good times and healthy relationships and love and commitment and joys. And there's years of that has now been put in jeopardy. But I wonder if they will be able to make a sound decision about what happens going forward with the audience that they now have, right? I did read the CEO's statement. I thought it was heartfelt. Me personally, I don't know if I can say definitively that your lack of judgment and your lack of discretion in your romantic life is an indicator of your effectiveness in your professional space. I don't know if they always correlate. I mean, we had the most powerful man in the world at one point, Bill Clinton, make a decision that demonstrated an egregious lack of self-control and a disrespect for the space that he was in, lack of judgment, low self-discipline, and he escaped that pretty much unscathed. I mean, there are jokes about it, but when you compare the fallout that he experienced to the fallout that Monica Lewinsky did, I mean, they're gravely disproportionate, right? So I don't know. I mean, and Bill Clinton continued to be our president. So I don't know how much of this resignation from being the CEO of a million or billion-dollar company is a just, appropriate, sensible decision. And I think that they may be, collapsing under the weight of the public scrutiny. And that may be what is really layered into that decision. I understand that in some companies, when there's fraternization and, particularly with a senior employee and his or her subordinate, that it does call into question the integrity of some of their decision making. I don't know if this applies in this situation. The chief executive officer and the HR director, would their alleged relationship outside of work affect, their judgment and their fairness in the job that they were doing at that company? So I have mixed feelings about that. I know it is heavy-handed, and I know that meaning us as the viewers and us as the commenters, would have played a very significant part in how this entire scenario is unfolding. Back to his comment. Quick update. The company has since said that the statement that was alleged to have come from the CEO is not actually his words and was not authorized. So my comments about the wording in the statement is hypothetical, and my opinions reflect my thinking about if that were his choice of words, how that could be received by the public. I agreed with what he said. I agreed with his apology to his employees, because the scandal will definitely affect the company's profitability, right? In some cases, it may positively affect it, because I have never heard of that company before. And now it's on the mouths of hundreds of thousands of people. So that could be debated, and someone would have to investigate or examine the figures over time. But the general consensus is that the company is going to take a hit, and their integrity and the quality of their employees might be tarnished, right? And so I understand apologizing to your employees, absolutely, to your family and to your children, because you decimated their trust and their honor, and this is going to be forever online. I mean, maybe in 5 years we will forget and we will have to look it up, but those images and that pictures and that video will live on forever. The internet is, this infinite space of content and images and quotes. So I agree with that. He did make a statement at the end where he said that a private moment was shared publicly, and I am not in agreement with his use of that word private, because you were in a public space. You are aware that there are recordings happening, because at the time that the camera panned over to them, they were watching the other people being filmed on the kiss cam. It appears that way. I do not know for a fact if they were the first couple shown, but they were standing, smiling, watching. So they were also being entertained and consuming other people's quote-unquote private moments as public entertainment. So I disagree with his use of that phrase, because how can you be in a public space where you must have known that there are multiple cameramen at various angles in different places in the audience, on the stage, recording and panning that audience? Why would you think that you would not by chance be recorded? People around you have their phones out, recording the concert, people behind you, people next to you. Maybe they were in a private box, maybe they were encircled by their friends and people that they felt would use discretion and not speak of their indiscretion. But I find it very ironic that he would qualify his placement or his decision as a private experience that was made public. I don't think that the band did anything. Chris Martin could not have known this was part of the entertainment of the show. The audience loves being involved in what's happening on stage. They love being recognized. They love being seen. I mean, you have hundreds of, maybe even thousands of people posting moments of Beyonce's cowboy Carter tour where she's pointing to them. She's reading their signs. She's saying, I see you, you're there. So people that are super fans of a band and they go to these concerts and they're in the nosebleed section and they're very invested as an audience member, they relish in these moments to be seen and to be addressed and to be acknowledged by their performer, by the superstar. So I think that the kiss cam and the acknowledgement and almost turning the stage in reverse, where the audience now is put on stage, I think that's beautiful. I think it's a good showmanship, right? It's part of a good attempt at entertaining the crowd. So for the CEO to take that moment to ask the band to reconsider their judgment, I thought that was out of line. I think he needs to do more leaning in to his decision and embracing the fallout and the consequences of his own thinking, because this was his doing along with his colleague, and together they created a situation that now has put many of their family members under the spotlight, many of their co-workers under the spotlight, and that was their doing 100%. And that act of the cameraman randomly choosing them, that was not specific, it was not targeted, it was not malicious, it was just the consequence of them positioning themselves in a space where they made that possible. So my final takeaway is this: let's extend grace to people. Let's remember that the individuals that we see in these TikTok moments, in that Facebook feed, on that Instagram post or YouTube, that they are actual individuals with real lives, having something that many of us will get the opportunity to resolve privately. They are now resolving something that is very emotionally charged in a public space. So I want us to keep that in mind, and also to be consistent in our reaction, be consistent in our emotional investment into situations, and mirror the efforts and the sentiments that we express in our daily lives to the people that we get the opportunity to comment on online. So thank you so much. If you've made it to the end of this video, I want to say something very important to you that the other viewers who swiped away or clicked away a little bit earlier will not get to hear. And that is that you are special, that the time that you are taking to watch my videos means a lot to me. Thank you for the investment of your time. Thank you for listening to this video until the end. I hope it was worth your time. Take care until we come back to chat again at PHDChats.